let's go. Let's wrap these babies up and ship them off to the Coral Art Space. Yes, today, and it's a Saturday night. This is what I do at a Saturday night, people. Listen, if somebody told you that entrepreneurship is glamorous, it's not. Because this is what my Saturday night looks like. Making sure that these paintings are being wrapped and shipped the coming Monday to the Coral Art Space. But I'm happy for it. I am extremely happy because finally I got to it to, make time and space to ship them off. Yes, to ship them off. Yes, 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 yes. I'm even dancing. Look at that. To ship them off to the Coral Art Space because I just did not get to it. I just did not get to it. And I had to find a pickup surface that was not all too expensive because these prices are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. All right. So I still have some old bubble wrap in the cupboard. I'm going to recycle that. Here, I'm going to recycle them because it's just, I thought it was just it would be a waste if I just threw them off. But here, so many bubble wrap. So much bubble wrap. The only thing I just needed to do is just pick off the old duct tape. Look, it was really easy. It was not that hard. And it's also cost effective, right? Because ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay? Being an artist is not cheap. It's expensive. Especially if you need to package and ship and send off your work to other places. Oh, as I was packaging one of the kings, I saw a scratch. Yes, I saw a scratch. Now you can already know I was annoyed because first off, I'm very careful with my painting. So I am 100% sure that the probability of me damaging my own work is slim to none. I can be clumsy sometimes, but not that clumsy. No ma'am, no sir. So I'm not going to point fingers at anybody or any organization, but I definitely know it was not done in this gallery, in this art space. No. Which is maybe a good cautionary warning for you all to have, insurance. Just have insurance on your work. All right? If you send off work, it goes out of the space that you keep it in, have insurance. Because the moment that something happens and you get it back, you need to be able to show what people have, how you got it back and also how you send it off. I always have pictures. That's why I create pictures of my work, right? What if something happens to your work? You definitely want to have some pictures beforehand. And also pictures of how it comes back. Now, if something happens to it, then you have proof of how you've shown it to someone else. So now that I'm looking at the scratch, which is luckily for me, it can be fixed. All right, so yeah, it can be fixed. Not too bad, it can be fixed. But what if it was a rip? What if it was a tear? That would have been something else. And I would know 100% sure it wasn't me. I would have to find a company to fix that, that tear. My price should be discounted because there's now something damaged about it, right? So yeah, have insurance for your work. Have insurance for your work. If somebody else damages it, if a company damages it, if an art space, art gallery damages it, if a museum damages it, if an organization damages it, a third person damages it, you are insured. You are insured for your work. It's not easy because insurance companies don't really want to insure artwork. But find one. All right, find one. It's just a tip what I can give to you. So as I'm packaging these for the Coral Art Space, they do have a certain purpose for me to be there because on the 30th of March, I will be having my first open house. Yes, indeed, the first open house. It's like a soft opening for the public to make sure that the word is getting out. My marketing budget is not that high. Okay, so you got to work with what you have. Doing a little bit of talking, promotion on social media. Some RSVPs have been made, so there will be people coming, right? It's a soft opening. I know people will be coming, and it's a start. Now, the Coral Art Space, I have, different, a number of activities, a number of plans for that. The open house is a great opportunity for me to not only showcase my work, this is one of the things, but also collaborate with other great artists. When I look at their level, they'll be on the same level, maybe higher level, and therefore also promote and have a space where people from the diaspora, people from indigenous groups can showcase great work. So it's not just for me. I definitely have a idea with it, an intention with it. More of that I will share on my Patreon. That's exclusive content because that is basically a strategy that I'm showing and sharing with you all. All right. So if you want to know more of that, just become a member. That's that easy. And we'll talk more about that. So the open house will be on the 30th of March. That's the first one. I already planned also the second one that will be in May. And in the meantime, in the Coral Art Space, I also will be having workshops. So each and every single week, my bookings will be open on my website and people can reserve and buy themselves a ticket for the workshops. I will definitely be giving also more information on how I organize them, what's the purpose of it, and how you can generate extra income for yourself as an artist, and not only base it on just selling original work or art prints. There are several art streams that you need to have as an artist that can help you really diversify the income streams, your cash flow, so that if one is a little bit less than the other, you don't completely fall into the abyss. All right? You don't completely fall into the abyss. That is also something that I want to be that I will be sharing on the Patreon. So this is going to be a great opportunity for you just to join the Patreon, because there is where you're going to find that exclusive content where I really talk into numbers, where I go into material, the expenses, all of that. So here are the other two. Look at them. They're so bright. Ooh, so colorful. I just love the way that it came out. And the funny thing is, as I was packaging them, I had this rush of energy going through me. It was like, wait a minute, what's going on? I gotta be honest with you. As I was working on these paintings, I did feel this release of energy. And I already talked about it a couple of times, the perspective that hold in these paintings, right? And here I will place the latest link here in the corner above, where I talk further into the perspective of it. So, go ahead, go over there. You can watch the video. So I'm not going to repeat it over here. I'm just going to say I did feel a rush of energy. It's really weird, but I know it's not uncommon to have that as an artist, because I really put my heart in this. Unknowingly, I put my heart in this. I put the feeling in it and I just let it go. So when I picked it up, I think I kind of picked up the feeling as well. And just, it just disappeared. It just disappeared out of my body. I felt it and it disappeared out of my body. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. Let me just call it that way. Beautiful moment. I did have to check if the paintings were completely dry. They had enough time for them to completely get dry, right? Because oil paint dries slowly. I did not use any acrylic. This is a full oil paint. You see, I'm checking over here. Yes, I'm checking again because, listen, ain't nobody got time for that. No. So you do have to check that your work is dry. I had this one instance. It was with my first solo expo, where I created a painting and it was not dry yet. It was for my second one. It wasn't the first one. It was the second one. And it was 2 weeks after the first one in the same space. The person who was the organizer of the space, who managed the space, said, well, you can come over here for a second time, because you have great work. So I wanted to create an extra piece of work, like a big piece, not knowing that, listen, it needs time to dry. Oil paint needs time to dry. And I thought it looked dry. It was dry. For the most part, it was dry. So I just used blow dryers to speed up the process. And I also varnished it. So you already know that's going to take time. So as I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to take the risk and wrap it up with bubble wrap. Baby, the moment that I came into that space, here, look, I'm checking it again. I'm not taking any chances. No. The moment that I came into that space and I was getting ready for that particular day to open for the people to come and see the work, I took off that bubble wrap and the whole painting had a print of the bubble wrap. I was like, what the F? Now, I did not show it, but inside I was dying. I was just in shambles. In shambles. And, one of the people that visited was a friend of mine. And I told him, listen, that painting is effed up. He said, huh? How? And I said, can't you see the print of the bubble wrap? Look on there. And he's like, girl, if you didn't tell me that that was something that happened as an accident, I wouldn't have known. I thought it was just part of and it looks good. It looks like it's part of the painting. Now, I know he didn't tell me just to make me feel good, because he's pretty honest in his in his opinion. So I was like, oh yeah, there was no need for me to tell it. But you can imagine how you would feel, right? If it was not really your intention to do it. So that painting is also not for sale. I just created that. I think it's a beautiful piece that I have, but it will not be for sale because it was not my intention to create it the way that it is. It's still a beautiful painting though. But it's just to show that, listen, don't do what I did. If your painting is not dry, don't wrap it up. Leave it where it is. You cannot use it for an exposition. You cannot use it for a group show. Just don't do it. All right. The chances of it getting dirty because of debris, dust, people breathing on it, skin cells, hair, fibers, and it's still wet, it's going to stick on that. Do you want to take that risk? Hell no. So no, don't do it. I'm just telling you, don't do it. Don't take that risk. So yeah, these babies are ready to be shipped. And I'm really happy for that. Really happy. Now, I'm just really happy that the Cora Art Space is getting a lot more traction in my life. Like activities that I'm planning for it, me talking to other people like, hey, I also got a space, maybe we can organize something. I do know that I have to make the first step to create it into something viable, something that has more than just the potential to succeed. So those are big shoes to fill, and I'm not saying that will be done very early on, but it has the potential to be something really great. Specifically, for the reason that there are not that many spaces where my generation and the generation after that can go to and be part of a collective that shows artwork that has a specific look on people from the diaspora, people from indigenous groups, that also create great, high quality, high value contemporary work. I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to come in contact with high value work and not discount it, to come in contact with high value work and not to consider it to be too expensive. Everything is expensive and it's not going to get any cheaper in this life. So we should see this as moments that we can invest into our own culture, into our own community, definitely artist community, and keep it viable, where we'll make things accessible for, the generation now, the generation after, and give them a part to be a stakeholder as well, a cultural stakeholder, as I like to call it. They as well can be cultural stakeholders. There are great many ways of people to be cultural stakeholders. It can be by supporting art spaces like the one that I have. It can be by buying, just simply buying the work. That I do believe is one of the hardest parts that people really have to get over. People are so easy to buy a Rembrandt piece or any other piece that is non-indigenous or not from the diaspora. But there are successful galleries, there are successful art space owners that definitely show people from the diaspora and show work that is just as good or even better than what we now know to be art. All right. So there is space. And even if people don't want to make space for you, you can always create your own space. You can create your own space. Core Art Space is the space for that. So I don't want it just to be an artist-run space where everybody can get into it. Like I already said, there has to be a certain level of curation. So I do have to be mindful of the quality of work that I put there, but also for myself. I also need to hold myself responsible and accountable for, you can't just put everything over there just because you create something. It has to be good enough. You have to place a precedent over there. You have to set a mark. So I hold myself to that, but therefore I also hold others to that as well. And so there are many other things that I have planned for the Coral Art Space that just will take their time, right? Nothing needs to be rushed. If there's one thing that I've learned about rushing work, you will miss the details that are of high significance. You will miss the details that will just make you better and not just good, right? We all the time, and when I say we artists, a lot of times say, well, just get it done and later on it will be perfect. But there are also things of which I am of the opinion that you need to make them perfect before they get into the public eye. And that means that when you work a little bit slower and not concentrate too much on getting it done, right, as soon as possible, you just work a tad slower. Just put a little bit more attention to the detail. Then you definitely can set the mark of what it needs to be, right? You can set the mark. Just work a tad slower. Don't rush to have it done, because it can work against you. If you're constantly rushing yourself to get things done because of social media, because of the pressure of the community that you are in, because people are these days just such goldfishes, right? People are just have an attention span of a goldfish. You have to train people to appreciate what it is that you are putting out. So that means you have to take your time, slowly feed it to the people. If you're constantly feeding, people don't even chew anymore. They don't chew their food. So you're constantly feeding. Yeah, of course they're going to be waiting for the next thing. We are so conditioned and spoiled by social media to be so hungry for the next thing to give us the buzz, to give us the dopamine. We don't know anymore what it is to have delayed gratification. We almost don't know what it is to wait until the moment suprême. And me teaching myself to do that, like, just take it a little bit easier. Just back up a little bit more. Take your time a little bit more. You are kind of conditioning your audience to do the same, and they will appreciate it. Listen, those who cannot follow will not follow. They were not there for that anyway. There's a whole big world of people who create art back to back to back. And then they need to go over there. I'm not waiting to create this multi-million community. I want to have a community that is dedicated, devoted to what it is that I do. I want to have that community because that is consistent, that is structural. That is the type of community that appreciates each and every single year, each and every single time. All right? When I move, they move. That is what I want. Because the fast pace is going to be, it can work in your favor, but for the things that you want to build, like a community, like an audience, you do have to be a slow burner. You got to be willing to make that slow pace kind of, entice people, make it sexy, make it fun. What is it that you have to offer? But it's a weird balance because you cannot make it too slow. You do have to pick up the pace. And once you get their attention, then you can do the things that you need to do. Right? So it's kind of a balance of both. But anyway, listen, people. I'm coming to the end of the video. So before I leave, I will have to ask you, which I don't mind asking you, is to subscribe to this channel. Listen, if you made it so far, I really appreciate it. I am so happy with the fact that you are all here and that you're wanting to see these videos. I see that you are watching longer and more of the videos. Kudos to you because you're already seeing. I mean, your girl ain't lying. These videos are packed with nutrition. These are not empty calories, all right? This is good food. This is good cuisine, all right? So subscribe, like, and share. It is so important that y'all share. You see this video, share it on your Facebook, share it on your Instagram. Go to the Instagram, go to the Facebook, go to all the socials and follow me over there. That helps to push the content further. All right? Now, many blessings to you all. I appreciate you so much. I will keep going and keep producing the great content. And don't forget, go to the Patreon because exclusive content is going to be posted more and more and more over there. All right? See y'all soon. Blessings. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.